had big plans for videos in 2020. I was planning on moving and traveling and making a lot of videos around that. However, for obvious reasons, that is put on hold for a while. But I still love making videos, so I was kind of racking my brain thinking about what kind of content I could make during this time. And the first thing that popped into my head was to show you guys my study abroad scrapbook, because since a lot of my videos are study abroad related, I figured it would be kind of relevant, and it can also give you some ideas if you are looking for things to do during your own quarantine. I totally understand that this video might not be for everyone, but I do hope that you stick around because I will have more, outside of the house content once we are able to leave. Also, I just wanted to say I hope that you guys are staying safe and healthy. I know that a lot of you guys that watch my videos may have been planning on studying abroad this semester, so I'm really sorry that you weren't able to do that. Of course, there are definitely worse things that could have happened, but having something that you've looked forward to for so long get canceled is definitely heartbreaking. So my thoughts go out to you guys. I always find that being creative gives me kind of a way to take my mind off of everything going on, so I hope that this will kind of provide that for you. Hopefully it will relax you or give you some inspiration, and maybe you'll make your own quarantine scrapbook. So let me show you mine. I'm very proud of how I rigged this camera setup. I'm going to show it to you at the end, but right now I'm very afraid it's going to fall over, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for the scrapbook, I just have this plain black fabric scrapbook, and then for the title, I just stuck on a label that I made with a label maker. Okay, quick disclaimer, I put page protectors on before I realized I was going to be making a video, so there is a little bit of a glare, but I will make sure that you can see everything throughout. So for the first page, I just kind of wanted to do an introduction to what the scrapbook was going to be about, so I wrote Florence, summer 2018, and then I chose 2 photos that I thought represented Florence well. And then you'll see this a couple of times throughout the scrapbook, but I like to do kind of a drop shadow effect with cardstock because I think it just adds a little bit of interest. And then down here I have this photo of me and then my name with the same label maker that I used for the front cover, and a little arrow, and it says that's me. Honestly, I just wanted to kind of fill this area because I thought it looked a little empty, and I thought that would be a cute way to do it. So this is the page of my travel day. So I wanted to kind of tell the story of how I got to Florence, but I didn't want to write full paragraphs, so I thought it would be cute to do this how-to guide to get to Florence. And this allowed me to tell the story of how I accidentally sat in chocolate and it got all over the chair and my pants, and then I had to run off of the flight and change my pants in the Rome airport before I caught my next flight, and I was too embarrassed to tell the flight attendant, so I just left it, and I feel really bad about it to this day. And that's a really fun story to keep in my memories. So I also put these pictures of my family dropping me off at the airport, and then an arrow to me finally being in Florence. And sorry, I feel like with any scrapbook you'll have a couple pages that you're just kind of meh about, and that is what this one is like for me. I'm really glad to have the memories, but I think it's kinda not the cutest. The first mistake that I made was I wrote directly onto the paper with marker without sketching it out first, and it looked really ugly, so I had to put this weird awkward piece of paper on there. It actually turned out fine because it kind of ties these 2 pages together, but not my favorite. And then just some pictures of my first week. This is the view from my room. I took a Polaroid on one of my first days, and I think it's a really cute memory to have in here. And then this is a ticket that I kept from when we went to the Gucci Museum. This spread is one of my favorites. I think it was because it's one of my favorite days of actually being in Italy, but I just love how it turned out. I think it came together really well. I don't know if you can tell, but this is metallic marker, and I really like using metallic marker. I just think it kind of elevates the look and makes it look a little bit fancy. And then to make it pop a little bit more, I do kind of a drop shadow behind it with a black marker. Something else I like to do is I like to add in smaller photos with the larger photos, not only because I feel like you can obviously add more pictures to the page, but I think it just kind of adds a little bit more variety. So I also like to do borders around random things. I can't really tell you the rhyme or reason, but I just thought it would tie together the page a little bit better if I had some borders. I think when you stick things directly on the page, it can just kind of look boring. And then here I just wrote a caption on that same paper, again to tie that together. And then if I ever have too much white space, I like to either write captions or add little decorative drawings. And then here I added a Polaroid from the castle that we were at when we did our wine tasting, and then I wrote the date there. And here's me after I opened a bottle of wine with a sword, and I felt very cool. These are more pages that I feel a little bit meh about. This is just when we went and made pizza, and it was really fun. By the way, I have videos of almost everything that I will talk about in here, so I'll link them up in the cards, I think over here, whenever they pop up, in case you want to watch them. But here's where we made pizza. This is actually a still from the video. And then over here is where we went to Bubbly Gardens, and you'll see I did the drop shadow effect again. And then since we were at the garden, I thought it would be cute to do a little vine here. And sometimes I like to do little doodles or sketches related to my photos, so that's an example of that. And then I really like the way these pages turned out as well. Again, I used metallic marker. I don't know what to say. I just really like the look of it. And I also really like mixing fonts. I say fonts as if I type them, but you know what I mean, like handwriting techniques. And then I also wrote down here Como è bello c'è la luna, which I don't know if that's proper Italian. It's from a Dean Martin song, but it basically means how beautiful is the moon tonight? Not tonight. How beautiful is the moon? And then I also did these little location tags that I think are cute at the Trevi Fountain, the Colosseum, Vatican City. And then another museum ticket. I really like keeping those kinds of things because it's really fun to add them into a scrapbook. And then here is another Polaroid that I stuck in with some metallic washi tape. Okay, I know I keep saying every page is my favorite, but I really love the Paris pages. Paris was so fun, and if you haven't seen my Paris video, I'm gonna link it. You have to watch it. It's one of my favorite videos I've ever made, and I'm obsessed with Paris. I made 2 whole spreads just off of 2 days that we were there. So anyway, for the title of the page, I did Paris Day 1, and I made the A in Paris with the Eiffel Tower. So I just sketched that out on a piece of black cardstock and stuck it in there. And then I did a black marker, wrote out the rest of Paris, and then outlined that in a metallic silver marker. Then I did an itinerary. So I really like being able to remember exactly what I did. So day 1 we did Notre Dame and Saint-Chapelle, La Saint-Severin, which is this breakfast place that I loved, and then the Orsay Museum and the Eiffel Tower. And I wrote it all in French because I wanted it to be fancy. Also, I'm realizing now that this says oh la la instead of ooh la la, so that's embarrassing, but so cute looking. Took this picture of Megan, and it's this lady posing on the wall and this other lady holding these balloons, and it just feels very influencers in the wild to me. I just really thought it was funny. Okay, day 2 of Paris, I wanted to do kind of a French flag theme, so I did the letters in blue, white, and red. And actually I thought it looked kind of boring with just the white, so I did silver instead of white. And then with the label maker, I did a Lord quote. It says, "They'll hang us in the Louvre," down the back, but who cares, still the Louvre. And my friends can attest to this, I would not stop singing that all day long, and not to be annoying, it just was like stuck in my head and I couldn't stop. So then I did another one of the itineraries. This day we did the Louvre, Champs-Élysées, La Durée for macarons, and the river cruise featuring the sparkly Eiffel Tower. And then I don't think you'll be able to tell on the camera, but I drew a little Eiffel Tower and then I did dots on it with metallic marker to kind of make it look like it was sparkling. Over here I just taped in these little pictures with washi tape and then did some doodles, so that's a French flag, some macarons, and then the Eiffel Tower. So, and then also more of the label maker. These pages are my favorite. I just think they kind of look boxy, but this was so fun and I'm really glad I got to experience this with my best friend Taylor. So she came to visit and we went on 2 different tours. We went on a Best of Tuscany tour and a Cinque Terre tour. And this is the Tuscany day and this is Cinque Terre. And this is a Polaroid, and then did some washi tape at the top and bottom just to kind of take up some of the white space. And here you will see that the pages from here on out don't meet up with these pages. I bought a refill pack of pages and they were not the correct size, so just wanted to point that out. This is kind of my love letter to Florence. I took photography classes while I was there, and so I wanted to incorporate some of my landscape and street photography that I did. So did that, and then I I liked the idea that it would spread across both pages, so I wrote out Florence across the 2 pages. And I also added this museum ticket, and then this is on the back of a Vivoli gelato business card. It's like a little map of Florence that I thought would be cute to add, and I really like this page. Okay, and then these are definitely the most narcissistic pages that I have. Well, there are 2 pictures of Megan, so that's very kind of me to add her, but I really just love this day. I had such a good time, and we spent a lot of time taking pictures and videos and swimming in the pool, so I wanted to encapsulate that. And then on this page, this background, I actually had cut up this paper to do borders around the pages, but I ended up not liking that, so I just puzzle pieced it back together and glued it in there. So there's like some seams on the page, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And then these pages are when my parents came to visit in Florence, and I really like the look of the smaller photos. I thought it would look kind of sparse, but I think it actually looks kind of cute and free almost. So in order to fill up some of the white spaces, I did add these little doodles and these borders around the pages. And then these 2 days were actually separate days, so I added separate titles for them. So this says Tuscany Vespa, and this says Pizza and Gelato. And this is when my dad and I went on the same Vespa tour that I went on with my friends, and we loved it. And look how cute my dad is on the Vespa. And then this is when we went to Venice, and we went to this little island called Burano, and it had these really, really colorful buildings. So I went with a little bit more color than I'm typically known for. So I did this bright orange and blue for the title of the page. And then I just added this little sign here, the floating city, just because I thought it needed something down here. Something else I like doing is writing down funny moments that happen and putting them in the scrapbook so you can always remember them. And then again, I did a little label here. Okay, and these pages, I don't love them. Again, I'm happy with the memories, but I really messed up on the title here, and I had to put that paper over it, and it just kind of threw off the whole thing for me. But nonetheless, really cute time with my fam with the Matterhorn. And then I wrote little stories of the 2 towns that we went to. So we went to Zermatt, and then we got to see my brother, who was in Switzerland on a separate trip with his Ambassadors of Music program, and we got to go to one of his concerts, which was really fun. I also kept a little bus ticket, which I really, really recommend keeping those kinds of things because you can always stick them in a scrapbook. And then these 2 pages have nothing to do with each other, but I didn't want them to look too clashy, so I decided to stick with the same color theme, which actually worked out really well because this page is from my photography project, and the theme of the project was light and shadow, and so I did a lot of cool lighting techniques, like here with the light coming out of the store on the grate, and then here with the shadow cutting through the middle. But also the color scheme was this gold and blue, which also happened to be the color of the umbrellas at the beach. So if you have anything similar, like you have 2 pages that you're not sure that will go next to each other, always try to find like some similar thread, and it will make it look a lot more cohesive. I drew a little camera, click click, and then I always say this when I take pictures, so I was kind of making fun of myself, but I said, wait, I love this light, because I always say that. And this is Florence from above. So this is all the times that we went, not all the times, but a few times that we went up to the Piazzale Michelangelo, which is where you can see a really beautiful view of the Duomo and the city from up above. So I drew a little picture of the Duomo. And then over here, I took these pictures of these little flowers that grow on the side of the road as you're walking up to the Piazzale. And then since they are on the path, I did this little map behind it and did flowers along the path up. And over here, these pictures repeat themselves, but I liked the look of having a string of Polaroid looking pictures, even though they're not actually Polaroids, but I just stuck them on with washi tape, and I think it has a cool effect. Then these pages, this is an ode to my Italian apartment because I loved it so much, except never forget the mosquitoes. The mosquitoes were so bad. And I always like look back fondly on this apartment and then I'm like, oh, but the mosquitoes. I don't know. I don't know about it. Okay, and then this is a very sad but very necessary page. This is my last night with my roommates and we took pictures by the Ponte Vecchio. Also, I know that Bella's is not proper Italian. I think it should be Belle for plural. But this was kind of an inside joke, so I wanted to keep it the original way. And also the design here is based off of these earrings that my friend Serena sent me and Megan. They were 3D printed by a wonderful artist and I really love them. They were really sentimental because, again, Ciao Bella's is kind of an inside joke between us. So I wanted to kind of emulate that here. And then also we went to Le Vespe, which is one of our favorite little breakfast places for brunch on our last day, so I kept the business card from that. And then we also went to our favorite gelato place, Vivoli, and I took a picture there as well. And then I had a bunch of pictures left over that I couldn't fit on the pages, but I wanted to include still, so I just did this big collage and I think it turned out pretty cute. And I also included some more museum tickets and a bus ticket and a little business card. And I think it is really cute. So if you have leftover pictures, throw them in there. It's fun. And then the end. I wanted to wrap it up similarly to how I started it. So I put these two pictures on there with a drop shadow and ew, that's my hair. Get out of there. And then wrote the end. So that's it. Okay, here's what we have. I have my camera on a selfie stick taped to a box on top of another box that's full of stuff to weigh it down. And then it needed more counterweight, so I put a bucket with a sweater. Innovative.